question. We're helping to create young, confident, entrepreneurial and community-minded youth, poised to make a difference in the African business landscape and to create a brighter future for Africa, to researching, developing and implementing their business initiatives will in turn create economic opportunity in our communities.
As a startup, you must learn what acting is. I will. The same person you see here now is the same person you will meet me with a slight difference. Because you're dealing with me on a personal basis. If you meet me, now you're dealing with me on a social level. So on a social level, I have to act. I have to know how to act in order to draw your attention, make you focus on me. So whatever message I am giving you is not necessarily an act, but I must dress up to look the part. Producing. What does it take to produce something? It's that process and procedure that it takes to deliver out a product or your company. You have to think multitasking. Producing is all about administration and management of people. Directing. Showing a vision. Creative vision, yes, regardless of whether people understand it or not. But you are showing a way that you have found. So that is like the marketing part where you're putting out the advertising messages and all that. Editing is also a function of management, but it allows you to streamline. You cannot say you're going to make a science fiction drama epic. Doesn't work. You confuse people. Script writing, that's what they call business plan. You want to create a business plan that works? Understand what script writing is. There are only 4 components. If you go using the normal standard definition for business plan and template that is out there, know that that was produced for business, bigger businesses, not for small companies. Hammer, angleman, spy. Send out agents into the market without them knowing. It allows you to see perspectives from different angles. Let's assume I want to sell a car. As a practitioner, a strategist who needs to make money, I'll hire a person, put them in that car, and have them drive in the area where I want that car. They will come up with how they bought this, and they bought that, and bought this, and bought that. Why do girls buy shoes? Why do men buy shirts? Want to impress somebody? However, I could be wearing H&M, but I look like Gucci. These are the moral law. These are, first, the moral law. Your philosophy towards life determines the actions that you take. Morality for business people is very important who want to sustain themselves on the long run in business. You cannot say that you will survive by trampling on heads. You only have graveyards. So you have to manage and think of more good ways to get things out rather than taking advantage of another. Then what goes on comes right. Mental state. What kind of people are you drawing close to yourself, or what people are you repelling away from yourself? Depends on what you say, what you do, confirms what you see. The commander. I am the commander-in-chief of StartUpSity. And I am the queen bee that my hands protect. If you understand what nature is like. Who brings out the ideas? Who gets things done is the most valuable person. There is no excuse for me to say, oh, I couldn't win that soul, or I couldn't win that market. I am put through too much pressure to sustain a platform. And for that I get paid. Some people ask why the CEOs get all the credits. Well, you watch out what they do. Methods and discipline, your service lines and your product lines, mix them. Don't have just one service line and think you're going to make the money. There are products and services that complement each other in a mix and gives a wholesome solution. Where did business or industries, whatever it is that we're seeing today, where did they originate from? Imagine today you're not seeing all of this. Imagine you've been put in a field where it's only grass and wood. That's pretty much what people saw. Adam and Eve. Let's just put it in a simple way. God put fruits for them to eat. That's basic. But He didn't build a house for them. So at first they had to sleep under the tree. When rain started beating them, cold came in, they started looking for caves, which is housing. So, why I'm saying this? There's what they call hierarchy of needs. I don't know who have heard that. Hierarchy of needs? Anybody heard? Yeah? Hierarchy of needs, or Marceau, was created so that people understand, and the business environment also understands that certain priorities fall in certain hierarchy level. The first is the physiological, which is what helps you to sustain your life. Food, number one, which means businesses who are in the food industry in any which way or matter always make some kind of money. There are 3 channels for business ideas to generate itself. Or more likely 2 main, and then one just organize them all into one, channel and call it that way. So it's either your interest or your profession. And interest becomes a profession. So the common is interest. What drives me is the interest I have in seeing Africa rise. I am, one, tired of seeing my Africans being where they are. We're not talking Africa as in South Africa. If you look at what the rest of African countries look like, you'll want to shoot yourself. My basic reason for being so determined to get Africa to understand what business is that I came from a family of professionals, engineers, doctors. Both my parents are doctors. My grandmother is an electric engineer, high tension wires and stuff. You hardly hear a woman being on the high tension wire. But during the USSR times, they didn't look at whether you're a woman or a man. Everybody worked to bring the country up. And then when it was time to change, you had to change. What I saw was that professionals who were once praised and held in high regard now became literally zero. And zero meaning that nobody explained to them that there is going to be a shift. The country broke apart and that's it. My grandmother saved something like 30 million rand. By the time Russia broke apart, it became 30,000 rand. Now imagine the shock. She saved, deprived herself. I used to know her to patch her pants to save that money. My mother comes from the Muslim part of Russia. Some people will be surprised and say there are Muslims in Russia. Russia is surrounded by Muslims from Asian part. In history, the Tatar Mongols came to capture Russia, but Russians grew to trade and be surrounded. That's how they survived. So, as a Muslim mother, she had 3 daughters, and the rule is that we save as a bride price for each daughter. So she was saving money so that she could give to her daughters to start their own life. That is why she deprived herself. So I saw the heartache in my grandmother's eyes when the government started to say it doesn't give a shit whether you're ready for change or not. It has to happen, it should happen. And now I'm in a country that is going through the same thing. Before, they'll tell you go to work. Now everybody seems to be talking about entrepreneurship, right? You must be an entrepreneur, you must set up a business, you must do this, you must do that. That is a message from the government that is preparing you because they've seen what has happened to other countries. They're not meaning for telling you to be an entrepreneur. They're telling you competition is coming. Other countries are coming to your country and winning your territory. When are you going to win your own territory? Are you going to sit down and watch how the Nigerians take over? Have you seen any Nigerian who's been here for more than 3 months and haven't set up a business? In Nigeria, there is nothing like industrialization. We barely have light. So it's an opportunity for you to go to Nigeria and offer them light. And if they're smart enough, they'll take your technical skills and pay you for it. However, you have to negotiate what your skill means to you in your country. It takes guts to open a business. Why does it take guts to open a business? Because every single person is forever telling you that why are you doing something different than what everybody else is doing. I have done extensive research to evaluate the quotes from famous people we have in Africa and the famous quotes we have from everywhere else in the world, and they differ considerably. Those on the outside of Africa are more technically orientated, while Africa is more socially directed. I mentioned Sun Tzu. Who was he? He was a military tactician sitting in the advisory of the royal family in Asia. He used to protect and attack at the same time. He would protect by attacking, and he will attack to protect. The art of war is of vital importance to the state. If we replace the word war with business,
we will have the art of business is of vital importance to the state. Reason why it is of vital importance is that today we don't have jobs. We're begging for jobs as Africans. And let's be honest with each other. Most Africans, or let me say South Africans, are industrialized. What industrialization is that the government came up with a development plan for a continent or an environment. They built up industries such as the manufacturing, and they said to people, if you want to make money, if you want to make a living, go to university, study exactly what that manufacturing is all about, and then you have the job available. However, in today's world, industrialization has been oversaturated. There's simply like there is no more space. So the requirement is that you become an entrepreneur. What is an entrepreneur? An entrepreneur is someone who goes out to search for new ways to do the old thing. Natural resources, practically, or what we know, has been discovered. But what if you find some kind of metal in your backyard that nowhere else is available? Are you just going to sit there and look at it? Or are you going to do something out of it and produce something? It is important that we understand that if we don't do business, we will have nothing to trade with. As Africans, we're used to selling somebody else's dream, somebody else's product. When that product ceases to exist in the market, what happens? We cease to make money. Which is why you see the state of the economy today. The content of this is the business. If you go to ask 7 Stars how they made this energy drink, they will not tell you, because that's their trade secret. They could tell you how to make a can, but they're not going to tell you how they mixed the liquid inside. And they have a right to, because as soon as that recipe is out, everybody can make it, and you lose your market. How many truly African-bred businesses do we have? Very few. How many or who do you know in Africa who has gone down the path, starved himself to produce something that lasts? Dangote doesn't make sugar, he trades sugar. You know, Dangote is Nigerian like me, okay? It will look funny if but let's be real, okay? There's a difference between sugar cane and sugar. In order to grow, you have to criticize. And please, if you do have questions, don't wait for me, just spit it out, because it will allow you to know exactly what you want to know about. I like to do the dartboard. If I don't know an answer, I'd rather tell you I haven't researched it yet, because I don't know what's of interest to you. I'm here to present what I have found, what I know, but I'm also interested in what do you want to find out. Of the import and export industry. For instance, Nigeria has yam. It's a big potato. I don't know if you've heard about it. We have a banana that is like 4 times the size of an average banana. Now we're used to eating banana every day, but that banana can't really be eaten. It has to be fried, and we call it dodo. It's just as sweet as a banana, depending on the ripeness level. Yeah, and it can be used for various things. And yam, imagine having 1 tuber of yam like that. You can feed a whole family, rather than like 5 kilos of little potatoes. So, for someone who wants to go into business, he will find something that doesn't exist within his country and import it. So, traveling is a necessity for an entrepreneur. Until you travel, until you meet other cultures, you won't be able to appreciate yours, 1. And 2, you will not find new things. Maybe this may be a below the belt punchline to South Africans, but you guys don't like to travel. Hence, how are you going to see opportunities? Mixing with other people's culture, you have to know what is of value to yours. The white man has been traveling the world since their kingdom come. Hence, he can come to Nigeria and say, you know what? We have this in South Africa, but you guys don't have it. Would you want it? That's selling. Now, potato chips doesn't have a competition. Why? Not because there is no avenue for it, but because nobody has actually done it. Yam chips, by far, I think is better than potato chips. In this, I'll elaborate now. Yam is a hard product. Before it rots, it takes a long time. And if it stays out in the sun, it doesn't dry out so fast or it will rot. So to preserve yam or cultivate it is more profitable over time. And the fact that it is this big and its skin is thick enough, you don't have so much wastage of peeling it and dicing it into chips like the potato does. With potato, as soon as you remove that skin, half of it is gone. Now, those who are in the market of supplying potato chips should go out there, cultivate it, and bring it back. The good thing about yam is that unless it's brought up in a tropical area, you can't grow it. Potato, however, the reason why it has spread so, far and wide is because it grows literally in any air climate, but you have different tastes to it. I mean, the potato in Nigeria is awful, but the Nigerians in Nigeria don't know that it's awful, because those who haven't traveled out haven't tasted how it tastes in Ireland or here. Our potatoes are like this, and they're like greenish, brown, dark. I'm sure you have seen poor quality potatoes here. The real good potato is huge, and it's got a light skin, and it's got like almost a buttery taste to it when you're eating. So, making comparisons between one product and the other allows you to see opportunities. Making comparisons between South Africa and Nigeria allows you to see the differences. And that difference is what an opportunity is. Now, the chefs of our days have taken it to another level. Why did chefs even happen to be? Considering that our African women know how to cook, most white women don't know how to cook, or they don't want to. They have higher aspirations. They're not going to spend 4 hours of their lives standing and cooking for a guy who may not like it. Restaurant success. Let's go out there, we're served, we're fed, we have a nice ambience, and now chefs are coming in with real good stuff, both visually and in taste. Chefs are the drivers of the food industry. The food industry is the agriculture. I mean, potato is potato. You boil it, and that's it. That's pretty much what people used to know of you. Or if they didn't boil it, they could poach it. That in firewood. But now the chef said, how about peeling and slicing it and making chips? And how about, instead of grilling it, we fry it? Now, how did fried potato even happen to be? Farmers, people at first were farmers. So they used to keep pigs. The oil that they used to use in frying came from pigs. I don't know why, sorry I'm not bringing religion in, but the Islamic world doesn't like pork, or they say they don't like pork. But the basics for frying, then most of their food is fried-based food. So they will keep the pig as we don't like it because we need to use the oil. If everybody was eating pigs, there wouldn't be anything to fry. So, to me, certain religious doctrines existed to support certain survival. Apart from the fact that when in heat, the pork meat used to turn, rots and worms started coming up, and the worms, if you don't cook pork meat well, it can affect your digestive system. So there are practical reasons for why certain things are the way they are. Salt. In Russia, there used to be a saying as soon as you spill salt, there will be a quarrel. Why? Salt is a very expensive resource. In India, for Gandhi to start a riot, he had to set up the salt factory workers to stop working. That is how important salt is. So the woman who buys just this little salt for the house to make the food tastier, and then some kid or somebody takes it for granted, invariably you have a fight. So countries that are surrounded by sea produce salt. For those who have seen me earlier, and those who see me now, the impression of who I am hasn't changed. Please shoot. Hasn't changed. I was a goofball then, now I'm being very serious. Is it easy to accept who I am now? It's scary. But you see, to the adults, me looking like this, they will accept me easy. To the youth, that is more fun. So in StartUpSity, we have to separate issues: church and state. In politics, they call it separation of church and state, which is do not mix religion with technical matters. If your product is not different, it will be forgettable. The same thing with the company name. If the sound of the company name does not put a mark instantly in your imagination, it usually doesn't, it can't lead. I mean, I yap my Nigerians all the time. I yap my Africans all the time. Whoever wants to see me as white, that's their problem. Having a business name, Achilles and Sons, does not do anything. Doesn't say anything. What it says is that, okay, a father and a son, or a family business. That kind of name is better off for companies such as legal companies, because with a lawyer, trust factor means the name. So most legal companies have the and Sons or Jackson and Jackson. You know what I mean? But when you're providing a service that has various service lines, you have to get a sound that grabs it all in one, but says, this is the message. StartUpSity, I think it's pretty much full. StartUpSity. It could mean we motivate. It could mean we build up. Now, that is the essence of that name. Somebody may go further and then ask, what is StartUpSity all about? It's about building people, building cities. Now, your motto, the tagline that you use, underlines the name of the business. Ours is Igniting Dreams. Now, anybody can have any kind of dream. So again, I will be asked the question. So the thing about a name and a motto is that it has to persuade someone to want to ask you more questions, to clarify your position. And that, in essence, puts you on a landmark. So when you're thinking about business names, can be changed. However, they can be stolen. So, the most important thing when they tell you first register your company is that they're telling you, please secure the name that puts you on a landmark. Securing a name does not mean you have a business. It means you have identified yourself, an identity. Rugby and basketball, see, the marketers made their choice. We had 3 balls, and the 3 balls represented what I call strategy. The balls seem to be just a toy, but in actual fact they represent something. Not just on a physical level, but also on a mental level, like general. Those who play sports, or played sports, or came in contact with it at some point, never remove themselves from it throughout their lives. The reason why sport appeals to me is that I have a family member who is well known, and the fact that I was his elder sister pushed me into his world without me really wanting it, but I got to understand it. Watching him from the age of 5 keep that goal so hard and not listen to anybody who told him anything else gave me and gives me the strength today to keep going at what I do. He is visibly successful in the world. He plays soccer. By the way, he kicked South African butts in the 2003 Nations Cup. So 3 goals from different angles. Nobody expected his speed. Nobody knew who he was at the time. And that also showed me how a business walks into the market. Something that is considered or taken for granted today will be dead tomorrow. No business is a bad business. It's just not the right time yet. Not the right time. Everybody knows rugby in the country. However, everybody in the sense that the white population, that's their culture. And to embrace that sport, it took a leader of yours to use it as a tool to bring people together. That is the essence of anything that brings people together. Football, basketball, and rugby are tools for entertaining people. And who is at best to entertain you is who stands at the top. It was used as a social way of showing that we do not reject you regardless of what you think you have done. It allowed a country to transition from animosity to a way to, let's try. If you tell me tomorrow that sports does not affect politics, I will tell you you're a liar. Sports drives politics because it sends the message that different people with different skills can be together and work together. Defense, midfield, offense, goalkeepers, the coaches, the management board. It sustains so many jobs, both in the publishing environment and the media tools, television and film. For a continent like Africa that needs to rise up, anything that has to do with sport, it should come first, in my opinion. I don't know how it is for you, but that's to my understanding. Apart from that, sport allows the individual to be physically fit. It doesn't mean that those who don't play sports are not physically fit. Let me use a reference to surfing. If you think about market research in the dimension of surfing, you'll understand that the essence of surfing, going after the waves, surfing is a thrill. I mean, water is dangerous, and you are on a plank. That's literally how this startup looks like. You're forever surfing the wind. Which one works? Do you go high? Do you go low? How do you bend? Please help me off the ground. That is how the startup feels. But the thrill of the moment, every time you beat that wave, you go higher. Your self-esteem becomes higher. I think most sportsmen are pumped up. I mean, when you speak to a sportsman, half the time it feels like you're speaking to an arrogant person. However, it is not arrogance, it is confidence. It's confidence that they have bitten and done things that nobody else or on a majority level can. To me, they are the most humblest people, but I know also when they meet ignorant, they become arrogant. See, we confuse the word, the feeling of arrogance and confidence. I am confident, but I can become very arrogant when I see someone trying to take a piss. And someone trying to take a piss may be ignorant of my strength and size. But I choose to be humble. I choose to be meek when the time is right. When the time is wrong, I will be arrogant. Sport, once you're physically fit, I don't know if I'm physically fit, but nobody will doubt if I say I did. It gives you mental strength. Once you put your body through a certain level of endurance, regardless of whether it's physical or not, you can actually train your mind to be able to endure any kind of torture. An entrepreneur, a startup, goes through that mental torture every single day because he has to prove to every Tom, Dick, and Harry that what he's proposing is good. However, if he steps back a little bit and says, people may not be ready at certain times. They may need time to get to that. So send out the message. You get the way back in reply and you evaluate it. Why did they say what they say? Why did they respond the way they did? So half the time you're always surfing between emotions and sensitivity and ignorance and this and that. And you're trying to find that seed that you can use to plant and have the tree that gives you fruit. I explained earlier how basketball works. I'm going to put the mic down and I'm going to do exactly the same thing I did to you initially. For those who are just starting with us today, they've missed a fun part to who I am. But I'd like to display it again. Right now I feel like I'm bird in a cage. This is what the fashion industry does to us. They tell us you must wear suits so that they like you. I'm a woman, I'm not supposed to be wearing a tie. Right? But the guy who is selling ties is happy that I'm wearing this because he's making money. Yeah, the guys who are selling blouses as well. That is marketing competition. Who wins me over? Those, yeah, I know, I feel like, big bird in the cage, but however, I can pretend I have 6 bites. Okay. Basketball, in my mind, is a startup. In the mind of what football and rugby is a business that is already on the growth spot. Is it different? I've developed more muscle, character, image. What does she have? So every time a big company tries to oppress a younger one, or perceivably oppressing, then indirectly exercising their right for terror. Business is war, sports is game. So
Do I? When are you going to start standing up for yourself? With this action, if the startup keeps on going, keeps on moving forward, regardless of how much pressure there is, even we, the big guys, recognize that there is some character in it. And it would make sense for me to embrace her and say, okay, you know what, we've pushed and shoved you. Now we want to know why you believe in yourself so much. Same thing every individual in the society person. You're punched by your family. You're punched by your friends. You're punched by the social environment that tells you you must locate this role or you will not be accepted. I've developed the character from when I was born. My first word was by myself. My family will not allow me to lie, for me to lie. In Russian language, 1.5-year-old says sama. My mother will try and help me with my tools by myself. I'll move her hand by myself, by myself. That is how I always did. I do things by myself until I've reached a point where that pressure or that weight of opportunity can no longer be carried by one person. So as a business, what do I start doing? I start looking for partners. I start, maybe from the partners, they may become interested in becoming more directors, which is taking more responsibility for the managerial aspect of the business, rather than just the technical aspect of the business. Protecting your zone against intruders, that's what we call competitors, or how we see competitors. Women have a natural protective instinct. It can be negative and it can be positive. No, I will hold. As a simple I told you no. I'm a woman, I'm a mother, I'm a sister, I'm a wife. The skill of nurturing and protecting is innately built by nature, but it has to come out through nurture. Who I am today, because I've been punched hard. Punched hard culturally, which is on the social level. Hey, you color. And I tell them, no, I'm not colored. The history between mixed and colored is different. Mixed is first generation, white and black, or any mixed kind of culture. But there's half and half there. Color is first generation, that's second generation mixing with second generations. So now we're having colors, blue eyes, green eyes, blonde hair. Mixing of cultures makes you stronger because you know more, you've experienced more. Your black mom is telling you one thing and your white dad is telling you another thing. And you have to, think, how do you survive between these two? So there is no way you're not going to develop a certain level of perceived aggressiveness. People who have come across me, who don't know me, think I'm aggressive or ambitious. Well, how do you survive between two cultures without losing who you are? That is for basketball. Football and rugby, they give you your space. In basketball, you're used to being pushed and shoved, from the front. and you're being used to push and shove from the back, I suggest basketball be understood. Because what it allows you to trust yourself and trust the other person. That they're not there to kick you or make you feel bad, but they're there to make you understand them and them understanding you. Passions is a technical understanding of interests. Thank you for listening to me.
Welcome to StartUpSity, your career and business development incubator. We deliver business programs for youth, women, and physically disabled, going into employment and entrepreneurship. We operate through our developed virtual and physical platform via voice, web, text, and practicals.